You're watching The Electric Feast.
All right. Hello, Feasties. It's Corrigan Vaughan here with the undisputed geek queen of ASMR, Miss Heather Feather. Heather, how's your day going?
It's pretty good, thank you.
Excellent. Very excited to be talking with you. One of my favorite members of the ASMR community. Do you go by ASMRtist? Is that your term of choice?
I like that one. Other people go with Tinglesmiths, but I go
Oh,
with
Tinglesmith.
ASMRtist.
I like that too. That's pretty good. I hadn't heard that one. Well, first and foremost, because I'm sure a lot of the readers here at the Electric Feast have never actually heard of ASMR, can you tell me what the heck it is?
ASMR, it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, but that's just a fancy way of describing these really pleasurable chills or tingles that people feel when exposed to certain auditory or visual stimuli, like soft voices or slow hand movements and things like that.
And does anyone have any idea why it happens?
Nope. Nobody. Well, there are a lot of theories, but there's been no scientific research on it, so none of it can be confirmed. And it's so subjective that it's really hard to pinpoint why one person gets triggered by one thing when another person doesn't.
Right. And explain trigger, what you mean there?
And when someone's triggered, it's when they feel those chills because of something they're witnessing or hearing. So common triggers are soft voices or whispering or tapping and scratching, watching someone do a task like painting meticulously, like Bob Ross was a lot of people's introduction to realizing they had ASMR.
Yeah, definitely. I remember feeling very tingly watching those Bob Ross shows on PBS as a kid. Was that your first experience? How did you discover that this was something that, you had these triggers?
I don't remember my first experience. I know that I used to get it when my mom would brush my hair or do X marks the spot on my back. I don't know if you know what that is.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I used to tell her that I had shocks because I didn't have a word for it. I'd say, Mom, I have these shocks. And she was like, okay, Heather. So, because what do you say when a child says
right.
that? And then I would get it from watching Bob Ross on PBS as a child, and from other movies growing up, and teachers writing on chalkboards. And when I was little, I don't know if you did this, I'm sure you did, when you pretended to have a tea party with your friends and you would pour nothing, but you would pretend to pour stuff, I would get triggered watching girls do that.
So you would get it from other people. Does it work on yourself? Like, can you, if you're like, going like this to yourself or something like that, is that going to trigger you, or is it pretty much exclusively when it's someone else?
I have triggered myself making videos from the sound, but I can't give myself the feeling by touching or watching myself back in playback. It doesn't work. I have to watch other people.
Right. It's like trying to give yourself a back rub. It's just not the same thing. Definitely. And how did you come across this on YouTube? I mean, did you know what ASMR was first? Were you Googling, like, what is this tingly sensation I feel?
No, this is embarrassing. Okay, so.
Oh, good. I love embarrassing stories.
I was always chasing the feeling, and so I would YouTube soft female voice or something, or girl brushing hair, and I would end up in the fetish part of YouTube. So I would end up.
There's a fetish part of YouTube? I didn't know that was a thing.
There's lots of corners in YouTube.
I'm sure there are.
But yeah. I would go to fetish videos like hair brushing, or there's long nail fetishes where people just tap things, and I would end up there and not love where it went, but I would stay for, tapping or brushing your hair or makeup tutorials. And I somehow came across Maria, Gentle Whispering's nurse roleplay. Which sounds bad that I say that after fetish. It wasn't because it was a fetish video. It just came up. And it was her, and she was making something specifically for me to feel that feeling, and it changed my life. And ever since that day, I have watched ASMR videos every single night. So it's been years now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Maria is one of the ones that I think a lot of people first stumble upon. I've seen on Twitter people like, for some reason I'm watching this Russian lady touch things, you know. So she's obviously one of the she's fantastic. So I'm not surprised that's how you got into it. And it's pretty astute of you to have noticed, you know, what exactly it was that triggered you and gone to search for it. I don't know, I imagine I would never have thought of being like, oh, tapping on things does it for me. I'm going to go look it up on YouTube.
I also really liked watching medical tutorials. So that's probably why I found her. There's a lot of medical tutorials on YouTube where they are really soft-spoken and they're doing the one task that they're trying to teach you how to do. So that's probably why I came across her nurse role play. So, yeah.
And that brings me to one of the interesting things that I see a lot in these ASMR videos. Maybe you could shed some light on cranial nerve examinations.
They're amazing.
What is that? Is everybody getting those except me?
Everyone in the ASMR community gets them like 3 times a day. But
yeah, apparently.
I've never had one in real life. I didn't know what one was until I saw Cute Bunny's cranial nerve examination. And then I was like, oh, this is awesome. So
now, one of the things you talked about just a second ago is kind of stumbling into that dark corner of fetish videos on YouTube as a result of this. I mean, I think one of the things people think when they see these videos is that it's a sexual thing. Is it?
No, it's not sexual at all. The whole point is to find something that helps you relax and shut off your brain so that you don't have the pressure of the world going through your mind as you're trying to sleep. And ultimately, you're trying to fall asleep. So sexual arousal is the opposite end of that.
That's true. That's a very good point. Sometimes you do get those comments, though, right, from people who have to say those vulgar things. How do you react to that? I mean, do you delete it? Do you just ignore it? What's your system?
It depends on the comment. If it's tame, I don't really get offended by it. I know that people will use anything on the internet to make them happy that way. So I can't control what other people do. We do get a lot of attention from certain fetish groups, and they're actually really polite when they make requests. They're really polite. They're more polite than trolls are with that stuff. And you just politely
that's good.
You just politely decline and say, no, I'm not going to, rub my feet all over my face or whatever. I'm not. But they're nice. They're like, could you please?
Right.
Okay. But
I can only imagine what that would be like to open your inbox and see that as a request.
You learn a lot about what people like from doing this.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's really not a bad thing. It's funny because I started out going to fetish videos for my ASMR, and then people come to ASMR for their fetishes. And I think that's because of the personal attention that we do or try to communicate through our videos, and people can get attached to that and want more from that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think one of the things that really draws people to your videos and to people like Maria and so forth is this sort of, you're very focused. It feels like you're talking to people. Do you end up then, as a result, having people who really think they know you, or, I know I've seen people make like fan art of you and things like that. What's the kind of interaction that you end up having with people as a result of this? I
love most of the interactions you get because of what we have, and it's not that widely known about. You feel a camaraderie with people about it, so you become friends and you talk about how it feels and where you can find more that help you, and it's really nice. The drawback is that there are some people who become very attached in an unhealthy way to you and try to pursue a relationship that you are not willing to have, because ultimately you are just a screen and you're just trying to make them sleep. You're not trying to be someone's companion or more than that. I've had people ask for my blood type, for my address, for hair, for...
Wow.
Yeah. Those are...
And you're pretty careful about, you don't, as far as I know, you generally try to keep people from knowing, like, where you live.
Absolutely.
And, all that kind of stuff. So you try to keep a good distance so that doesn't get out of control,
never deviate. Even if I really like the person, I never ever give personal information out like that.
Right. What's like one of the weirdest, I mean, not to, I know you probably don't want to like go all out on some of the things you've received, but what's maybe like an entertaining anecdote of something from someone as opposed to something that maybe is overly awkward to share?
I can do entertaining and awkward.
I like that. Let's do that. I love it.
I got a request to do a video once where the person wanted me to take bugs in my fingers and roll them and crush them. Because they said it helped them sleep.
Do you ever wonder if like they're just screwing with you when you get something like that? Like nobody likes to see bugs crushed.
There actually is a fetish for it.
Is there?
Yes.
I have not spent enough time on Urban Dictionary, I guess. Is there a name for it? Do they call it something?
I don't know. People like seeing things get squished and crushed. It's interesting. That was a no. I declined.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a no for you. So who are some of your favorites that you watch on there? Because I sense you guys definitely seem to have, like you said, a camaraderie. It seems like kind of a family of ASMR. So who do you just love to watch?
Well, we're all consumers and content creators, so we're all taking in each other's content because we need it. My preferences change almost daily depending on what I need, but I do have some constants that if I really need something, I can go to them because I know they'll work for me personally.
Yeah.
One of them is Just a Whispering Guy. He's amazing at making the viewer feel safe and very relaxed at the same time, because sometimes it can feel a little awkward watching a video, but he has a really unique gift where he can take out that awkwardness and make you feel safe and like you're supposed to be there. ASMRtist, she has an amazing voice, super soft.
And she's funny too.
She is. She's really witty and really intelligent. Amal, do you know Amal? She's really intelligent too.
I don't think so.
She does a lot of makeup and shopping and nail videos, but her voice is really gritty. So when she talks, it's really smooth and gritty like that. It's really nice.
That's great. We'll link to these afterwards so other viewers can check out the people that Heather is recommending right now. I would take her word for it. So.
There's Amandine Leloup ASMR. She's French, but her voice is like honey, and she's really wonderful. She's really kind. ASMR by Design. He has unparalleled sound quality. He knows so much about sound and how to create pretty much flawless audio. I have so many. I could list people for days.
We'll have to have you do like a guest post just to give us, here are the ones you should look for I
could do that.
On ASMR. So we will definitely give you more insights into Heather's favorite ASMRtists. Perhaps not at this moment, so she can think it through a little bit more. But so with all these great people who you love to watch, why did you decide to create content yourself?
I never wanted to. I watched, I had a core group of people that I was watching. I never felt inclined to make my own video. And then September 19th was my birthday. I was sitting on that couch, and I was bored, and all of a sudden I just needed to make a video. Like, I needed it. It wasn't just like, oh, maybe I'll do it. Like, I felt I needed to do it. So I just got up and went into my bathroom and put on some makeup and made a video.
Wow. That's great.
That was it.
And that started it all. You were just hooked from that point forward.
After that, the next day, I woke up and I had 6 subscribers, and I thought that was so cool.
It's huge for something you just did on a compulsion.
I thought it was so cool, and then I realized that I could make videos for the people that were helping me because they need videos too. So I started doing it it was kind of like a thank you to them. Like, I will make content for you because you make content for me, and maybe mine can help you. And then as more people started watching, there's another level of, I guess, a feeling of rewarding when people start telling you that you're helping them. And it makes you feel so good because you know how much it helps you. So you know that something that you're putting effort into is doing the same thing for someone else. And it's this it's a wonderful feeling that you really can't get anywhere else, even with work. Like, you get paid, but you don't get that kind of, like, oh, you helped someone, you know?
Right. Yeah, it definitely seems like most of the community has that attitude, right? That, we're helping people, and this is something I have, and so I can produce something to do this for other people, which seems like a pretty noble pursuit to me. But you're extremely prolific with your videos too. So why make so many all the time?
I like to do it. When I watch ASMR videos, they help me shut off my mind at night, and they help me sleep. But making ASMR videos gives me a pause during the day where I don't have to hear the loudness of the world or think about all the things that I have to do for myself or for others, and it just gives me like this little world where I can just stop and concentrate on things that I like or be another person. It's kind of like playtime, really, for an adult in a relaxing, sedative way.
So it's not necessarily that you feel. I mean, recently you did mention that you were worried that when you were you had to take a break for personal reasons, that you were afraid people were going to be, upset with you for not making the videos with the frequency that you're used to. And so do you feel like that pressure was real, or is that something that, you were doing this for yourself and then it got to a point where you kind of imagined there was external pressure? Were people supportive, or were they upset that you were gone?
People were really supportive, super supportive. I didn't want to tell anybody about that. I filmed videos beforehand so that I wouldn't have to tell them, but I couldn't make as many as I wanted to. And I was so nervous that they were going to think that I didn't like it anymore, or that I was giving it up or weaning off, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I didn't want them to think that I didn't care about continuing to help them. One of the big fears that people have in this community is that the person that helps them is going to leave, because a lot of great content creators have left because of trolls or personal reasons, and I didn't want them to feel like I was starting to leave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Would there be anything that would drive you out of the ASMR community? Do you think you'll be doing this for years and years to come?
I would love to do this forever. It makes me so happy on so many different levels. You get to give back, you get to have fun, and it's awesome. You get to talk to people, meet new people like you. Really cool.
Since you are so prolific with your videos, how do you come up with your ideas? Is it mostly requests from people, or is this just your brain's going crazy and you got tons of things to get out?
I love to think of new things to do. While I wasn't filming, all I did was, I have a notebook. All I did was write down what I wanted to do next. It's fun to create. I'm 28. So I don't have, and I'm not in school anymore, I don't have opportunities to be creative and do different things like that. When you're older, you have responsibilities. So this is a way for me to be creative and still do something that matters.
And a lot of the things that you sort of bring into it are based in a lot of these cool geek culture sort of things. So what inspired you to bring kind of your cool nerdy interests into your videos, as opposed to sticking to just Dr. Role Play or things like that?
Well, I have a lot of stuff, and I try to do sound videos in between, and I have all this stuff because I'm a little bit nerdy, a little bit. So I thought I could use my things and show people what I have, and maybe they could trigger people, and then people started getting really receptive to it. And it was really cool because in real life, nobody cares about my stuff.
Right.
But on the internet, if I show a comic book or a video game cartridge or an old toy that I played with, it touches people and it makes them remember those happy times with the same thing, and you get to talk about it with people. I can't talk about Sailor Moon or Pokemon with anyone in real life.
That seems like you've also got this whole sort of subculture within a subculture going on then.
Kind of.
Yeah. Do you think nostalgia plays a big part in some of the things that people love about ASMR and what you're doing?
I didn't know about it when I first started. I didn't think that it would matter, but it does. I really think it does, because it brings you back to a time when you didn't have the responsibilities that you do now or the worries that you do now, and it just you get to be triggered while seeing something that made you happy, and it's a really nice, complete package.
And when you pointed out that, you know, in real life you don't really have people to kind of talk about these things with. So on that note, I mean, how do people you know react to what you do? Or do they know what you do on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's not a secret thing that you do.
No. When I first started, my grandma thought I was doing porn, and I had to show her.
I can see how that could happen.
Well, she thinks anything on the internet is porn, so she's like, "Heather, are you doing the porn?" And I was like, "No, me, Mom. It's okay." So I had to show her my videos. Something. But my whole family knows that I do it, and they're very, very supportive. And they're so supportive to the point that they bring me stuff now. They'll go to a flea market or anywhere, and they'll pick something weird up and be like, "Heather," and they'll tap it and be like, "Does this do it for you?" Because they don't have it, they don't know.
Okay. It's not a family, you know, it's not a genetic thing then. It's just you.
It's just me. I wish more people that I knew had it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I would imagine, and maybe this is your experience, I think there tends to be this sort of sense, maybe because people think it's sexual or voyeuristic and things like that, that people don't really want to say that they have this. So do you think probably more people have this experience than really let on?
I think there's maybe millions. I don't know. That's a big number, but I think a lot of people have this and either don't know they have it because they don't know there's a name for it, right, or are hesitant in admitting they have it because it feels a little weird to say, "Oh, I like to watch a girl pretend to be a doctor and put a light in my eyes," you know?
Yeah, that it's called role play, you know.
Right.
It sounds like something different.
Yeah, it's hard to, especially if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a spouse, it's really hard to explain watching someone, you know, do things to your face and be like, "Oh, babe, I'm just watching, you know, it's for my sleep, I swear."
But what do you do when you're not doing the ASMR stuff? Like, what's a day in the life of Heather look like?
Oh, that's not as exciting as some people might think. Right. Besides working and things like that, I like to do Zumba, and I don't know if you can see behind me. No, you can't see behind me. I have a ton of game consoles, and the most recent game I just played was The Last of Us. That was awesome.
Oh, I've heard that's great.
It was really awesome.
Better than BioShock? That was the debate that was going on yesterday. Last of Us, is it better than BioShock?
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. I didn't like it when I first started playing it. I was like, what was everybody like? Everyone was like, "This is the greatest game ever." And I was like, it's just kind of a shooter. It's not that awesome. And then the story takes off, and you're just like, that's how you spend the rest of the game.
Well, that sounds good, because with BioShock, I spend most of the game like, so might be a nice change. So, you just played Last of Us. What are your consoles of choice?
It depends, because I like the games. I like GameCube for Mario Kart. I have the PS3 for Last of Us. I was hoping Kingdom Hearts 3 would come out for the PS3, but that's not going to happen. I have the original Xbox. This is a gift from someone that is tricked out to play every single game like ever made. So I have the original Nintendo games and Sega.
Dang.
Yeah, and N64 and arcade games. So I can play.
Incredible. And you're probably going to get arrested now that you've admitted this on the internet, but But that's, how did you get that? How did you come across this magical Xbox?
It was a gift. Someone was like,
"Oh, it came like that."
I don't want this anymore. Yeah.
Very nice.
I was like, "Okay, I'll take it." And I can play Aladdin. Do you remember Aladdin on Sega?
Oh yeah, big time. That was one of my faves.
Sonic? All the Sonic games.
God. I still know all the music from the Sonic games. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. What other stuff are you into?
Besides video games?
Yeah.
Games. I like Zumba. I like certain shows.
Zumba.
I love Walking Dead. I got into Bates Motel recently.
Oh yeah, how is that?
I really liked it. A lot of people did not like it. I really did. The first episode, I think, jarred a lot of people and not in a good way, so they stayed away from it. But if you stick with it, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love movies.
Yeah. And you use a lot, like in your videos, you definitely reference a lot of lines from movies and TV shows, kind of subtly slide those in there. So what do you listen to? Are you a music person too?
Yes, I'm not loyal to any category of music though. I'm not a big fan of country. I hope that doesn't upset anyone.
Well, it's
But
not gonna upset
otherwise,
me, but
otherwise, I'm pretty much into whatever my ears like.
right. What's on your Spotify list right now? What are you spinning?
I was just listening to "I Need Your Love" by Ellie Goulding.
Oh,
I was actually
Goulding,
humming
she's
it
great.
before we started.
Yeah,
Still in
she's
my head.
great. It's a lot of fun. So, if you were going to tell your faithful viewers, like, one fun Heather fact, like, what should they know that's fun about you?
One fun Heather fact. Guilty pleasure is the entire Bravo network with the Real Housewives shows.
I'm sure you're not alone in that.
I love watching those. What do I do that nobody else knows about? I dance a lot in front of a mirror, which sounds stupid, but I love to do that.
I'm a girl. That doesn't sound stupid to me. I assume that's a thing we all do. So.
Always chest popping. Yeah, when there's music on.
That's awesome.
I love Dance
There you
Central.
go. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So fun.
There you have it. Heather Feather is a secret mirror dancer. Who would have thought when she's not whispering to you, she's dancing in front of her mirror. So Heather, thank you so much for talking to me. I am so excited to introduce you to the Electric Feast. And is there any parting shot you'd like to say? Any shout-outs? Anything you'd like people to know about ASMR before we close up?
I think that everyone should give it a shot and listen to it and see if it works for you. Because if it does, it will change your life in a really positive way. And if it doesn't, then you just what? You didn't do anything bad.
Well, maybe your grandma might argue otherwise. might seem like the porn, but that's great. I'm so excited to have talked to you. Have an excellent day, Heather, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, it's me, Heather Feather, and I'm here with the Electric Feast for you to feast your ears on some of my favorite things. So put your headphones in. Number 1, Mario Kart. Mario Kart has never not been fun. Just so you know, I happen to be the best Mario Kart player in the world. Just saying. I know some of you might think that you can beat me, but you can't. Unless you play on the original system, then you can beat me, because that was the hardest. My winning combo for GameCube was Daisy and Toad. Because Daisy had those little hearts that would go around and grab anything that got thrown at you. And Toad had the gold mushrooms that would let you go fast. Okay, onward to number 2. Let's go! Number 2, Sailor Moon. She fights evil by moonlight and wins love by daylight. She never runs from a real fight. Why? Because she is the one named Sailor Moon. Fun fact, these two, Neptune and Uranus, were lovers in the original story, but when the American dub got their hands on it, they turned them into cousins. That's Sailor Moon, Sailor Starfighter, Sailor Venus, Sailor Jupiter, Sailor Mars, Sailor Mercury, That's my cat. I don't know what she's doing. Sailor Saturn and Sailor Pluto. My first anime that I ever fell in love with, for real. Number 3, Ender's Game. I was just recommended this book by a really good friend, and I'm really glad that I read it. It's interesting, and I believe it's being made into a movie. My favorite characters were Ender, Bean, and Ally. I think that's how you say his name. Number 4, Up. In my humble opinion, Up is the greatest movie ever made, and I'm a huge movie connoisseur, so. But Up is the only one that manages to have all the emotions and still make me cry at least 3 times upon each viewing. At least. It's so sad. There's so many things in it. Fun fact, if you want to watch the movie again, watch when Carl reads the book that Ellie gives him. Take note of the colors before the scene and after the scene, because they get more vibrant after he finishes. It's a little bit of Pixar magic to lift your mood.
I just met you and I love you.
Dog. Finally, number 5, Adventure Time. This is a handmade felt doll that a friend made for me because I'm obsessed with Adventure Time, and in particular this character who is called the Ice King, formerly known as Simon Petrikov. He's super tragic, and Adventure Time is one of those shows that has the unique ability to make you happy and feel carefree and feel goofy and forget about your troubles for a little while, but also still remind you about real life things. And they put lots of metaphors and adult themes in that. If you don't know to look for them, you'll miss them. But if you have your eyes open, it'll get you right in the heart. Poor Simon. So, those were 5 of some of my favorite things. I'm Heather Feather for the Electric Feast. Thanks for watching.